These are the hidden math tricks that turn your six-figure salary into minimum wage. This is the forensic audit that exposes how earning $48 an hour on paper becomes closer to $9 an hour in reality. Let's start with the basic deception. To make six figures working a standard 40-hour week, you need to earn at least $48.08 per hour. That sounds impressive, right? But here's what nobody tells you about that number. It's a complete fiction. The entire premise of hourly wage calculation is built on a lie. When we say someone makes $48 an hour, we're pretending they work exactly 2,080 hours per year, 40 hours a week for 52 weeks. We're also pretending that every dollar of that salary actually makes it into their pocket. Both assumptions are spectacularly wrong. Joe Dominguez and Vicki Robin nailed it in Your Money or Your Life when they wrote, "No matter what you think money is, there's one truth about money that applies to everyone. Money is something you trade your life energy for. You pay for money with your time. And the exchange isn't as good as you think. Let me show you exactly how bad that exchange really is. The first assault on your salary happens before you even see it. The federal government takes its cut first. On a $100,000 salary, you're looking at approximately $17,053 in federal income tax. That's assuming you're single with no special deductions, just the standard setup most people have. Then there's FICA taxes. Social Security grants 6.2%, which is $6,200 on your $100,000. Medicare takes another 1.45%, adding $1,450 to the pile. Combined, that's $7,650 in FICA taxes you can't avoid. We're not done with taxes yet. Unless you live in one of the 7 states without income tax, your state wants its piece too. Let's use Illinois as an example, a fairly typical state with a 4.95% income tax rate. That's another 40-9-50 gone. So far, we've lost $29,653 to various taxes, leaving us with $70,347. But remember, we started this conversation talking about earning $48 an hour. We're already down to $33.82 per hour, and we haven't even left the house yet. Now, let's talk about commuting, the great American time and money vampire. According to LendingTree's 2024 analysis, U.S. workers lose an estimated $94.70 per year just to the opportunity cost of commuting. That's the value of the time you're spending sitting in traffic instead of doing literally anything else productive or enjoyable. The average American commute is now 20-7-2 minutes each way. That's nearly an hour of your day, every single workday, that you're not getting paid for. But that's completely consumed by your job. Over a year, that's 250 hours of unpaid time, more than 6 full work weeks. The time cost isn't the only expense, though. You're also paying real money to get to work. Clever Real Estate found that commuters spend approximately 80-4-60-6 on their commute every year. That includes $867 on fuel and $410 on vehicle maintenance, plus tolls, parking, and the accelerated depreciation of your car from all those extra miles. When you combine the opportunity cost of time with the actual cash expenses, commuting alone knocks another $17,936 off your effective salary. We're now down to $52,411, or about $25 per hour for those 2080 theoretical work hours. Here's where the math gets really ugly, though. Those 2080 hours? That number is as fictional as a unicorn riding a rainbow. According to a 2021 ADP survey, North American workers put in an average of 9 hours of unpaid overtime every week. 9 hours. That's not a typo. That's not an outlier. That's the average. The equivalent value of that stolen time is $17,726 per year for the average worker. Gallup confirms this insanity, finding that full-time workers report working an average of 47 hours per week, not 40. If those extra 7 hours were paid at time-and-a-half rates like they should be, it will represent a 26.25% increase in weekly pay. Instead, most salaried workers get exactly $0 for that extra time. This is wage theft on a massive scale, and it's completely legal. Today, only 15% of salaried workers are covered by overtime protections under the Fair Labor Standards Act, compared to over 60% in 1975. We've systematically dismantled worker protections and normalized the expectation that professionals will work for free. Let's add those unpaid hours to our calculation. Instead of 2080 hours per year, you're actually working closer to 2580 hours when you include that unpaid overtime. Suddenly, your $52,411 in remaining salary is spread across 2580 hours, which brings your effective hourly wage down to $20.31. And we're still not done. Your job doesn't just consume the hours you're physically at work or commuting. There's the time you spend getting ready for work, decompressing after work, running work-related errands, attending mandatory social events, and dealing with work stress that follows you home. Conservative estimates put this additional job-related time at about an hour per workday, adding another 250 hours per year. Now we're looking at 2830 hours of your life consumed by work, which brings your effective wage down to $18.52 per hour. Wait, there's more. For parents, there's childcare, and this expense alone can destroy any remaining illusion of financial comfort. The national average cost of childcare in 2024 is $13,128 per child. In expensive states like Massachusetts, you're looking at over $22,000 per child. Let's say you have just one child and live somewhere with average childcare costs. Subtract that $13,128 from our remaining $52,411, and you're down to $39,283. Spread that across 2830 hours of work-consumed time, and your effective hourly wage is now $13.88. This is how a $48 per hour job becomes a $14 per hour reality. The numbers get even more brutal when you factor in geography. After taxes and cost of living adjustments, that $100,000 salary has the purchasing power of just $35,791 in New York City, $36,026 in Honolulu, and $36,445 in San Francisco. You need to earn nearly 3 times your salary in these cities just to maintain the lifestyle that $100,000 theoretically provides. Meanwhile, Tom Wilson, CEO of Allstate, perfectly captured the absurdity of modern work when he said, "Nobody wants to drive to an office to do a Zoom call, and commuting is way overrated." Yet, millions of Americans continue to sacrifice hours of their lives and thousands of dollars every year for the privilege of doing the same. Work they could do from home. The remote work revolution has exposed just how much of our traditional work expenses are completely unnecessary. Remote workers spend about $432 per month on work-related costs, while in-person workers spend $863, double the amount. That's an extra $51.72 per year that in-person workers pay just for the privilege of working in an office. Even more perversely, remote workers often put in more unpaid overtime than their office counterparts. We've become so conditioned to expect unpaid work that we impose it on ourselves even when there's no supervisor watching. The psychological damage of this deception runs deep. According to PYMNTS intelligence, 62% of U.S. consumers now live paycheck to paycheck, including 48% of those earning over $100,000 annually. Think about that. Nearly half of six-figure earners feel financially stressed despite being in the top 21% of income earners. The most shocking statistic comes from Goldman Sachs. 40% of people earning $300,000 or more say they live paycheck to paycheck. These are people earning 6 times the median income, yet they feel broke. This isn't a spending problem. It's a systematic extraction problem. Bank of America's analysis of anonymized customer data confirms this trend. About 20% of households earning more than $150 per year are living paycheck to paycheck. When people earning triple the median income feel financially insecure, something is fundamentally broken with how we calculate and think. About wages. The concept of lifestyle creep gets thrown around as an explanation, but that misses the point. When basic necessities like housing, healthcare, education, and childcare consume an ever larger share of income, what looks like lifestyle inflation is often just the cost of maintaining a middle-class existence. Consider this. The average American now believes they need to earn over $186,000 per year to live comfortably. That's not because Americans have become spoiled or entitled. It's because the hidden costs of working life have exploded while wages have remained relatively stagnant. The Fair Labor Standards Act was passed in 1938 to protect workers from exactly this kind of exploitation. It established a 40-hour work week and required overtime pay for additional hours. But through decades of regulatory changes and corporate lobbying, we've systematically gutted these protections. The result is a workforce that's more productive than ever, but captures a smaller share of the value they create. Here's what makes this particularly insidious. The higher up the income ladder you climb, the worse the hourly math becomes. High earners work more unpaid hours, have longer commutes, face higher tax rates, and spend more on work-related expenses. The very people who appear most successful on paper often have the worst ratio of time invested to actual compensation received. This is why Time magazine noted that every hour you work over 40 hours a week, you work for free, contributing to a giant pool of free labor that modern employers have come to expect and exploit. It's not hyperbole, it's basic math. The solution isn't to work more hours or find a higher-paying job. Those approaches just feed into the same broken system. The solution is to recognize that your real hourly wage, your actual life energy exchange rate, is probably less than half of what you think it is. Once you understand your true hourly wage, everything changes. That expensive dinner out isn't just $100, it's 7 hours of your life energy. That luxury car isn't just a monthly payment, it's years of your finite time on Earth. That bigger house isn't just a mortgage, it's decades of reduced freedom. The math is clear, the research is overwhelming, and the conclusion is unavoidable. The six-figure salary is one of the greatest gaudy marketing scams ever perpetrated on the American middle class. What looks like financial success on paper often translates to a grinding, expensive treadmill that consumes your most valuable resource, your time, while providing far less value in return than advertised. Your $40-$8 per hour job is really a $15 per hour trap. And recognizing that truth is the first step toward making better decisions about how you trade your life energy for money. The numbers don't lie, even when everyone else does.